Hello YouTube and welcome back for episode 7 of Getting Into Feed the Beast. Today what we were going to do is, like we were talking about, we're going to get more into Applied Energistics. I've made some additional progress since last time you guys were here. You shouldn't know what any of that is. I made some changes to this guy. If you guys remember, that was to automatically make these little processor thingies, which I'll show you. But first things first, I want to introduce these impulse item ducts. What those do is those work like normal item ducts, except for a lot faster. How you get those is, let's just pick up one of these item ducts real quick. We'll put it back later. If I go on into this room though, you're going to see that I have two new machines. I have a magma crucible set up next to a fluid transposer. If you guys want to see the recipe on that, we'll just go look really quick. Magma crucible looks like that, and just requires like nether bricks and some Invar gears, leadstone energy cell frame. That should be the only new item to you guys. And you make that really easy. It's just lead, glass, some block of redstone. Pretty simple to make though. And then you've got this one right here, the magma crucible. Oh sorry, that's the one we just looked up. Let's look at the fluid transposer really quick. Fluid transposer. Pretty simple recipe. None of that should look unfamiliar. We've got the machine frame, the bucket, some glass, copper gear, and then a redstone reception coil. I mean, pretty simple stuffs to make. Now how this works though is in order to turn an item duct, this guy right here, into an impulse item duct, impulse, right there, is you have to use what's called energized glowstone in a fluid transposer. It fills up the item duct and becomes an impulse item duct. And that's the purpose of the magma crucible right here. Is I actually could put some glowstone in this panel and it would come out to right here. I've got it configured to spit out the right. We can actually just turn all these guys off just like that because we don't really need any of that for now. But I just have the fluid spit out to the machine on its right. This machine accepts it, puts it in here as you can see, and then when I put that fluid duct in there, it has that little animation, and we've got an impulse item duct just like that. What it does is makes items travel faster. Let's give you an example. If I stick this piece of spruce wood in here, it just poof, we didn't even see it. It went so fast. And then you'll see it come out the bottom as charcoal, and that moves way faster than what we were doing before. For now though, I want to go ahead and put my little machine back together like that. Shouldn't hurt anything to have it like this, and I don't really need these ones to be any faster. It doesn't hold any processes up. This, however, since I'm waiting for the items from the chest to go into these inscribers, I definitely needed those to be faster. Also, I found that if you put 2 servos on here instead of just one, it'll get your items in here faster, so you can get what this machine does up here that we're going to go over in a minute. But if I go grab, like, let's say a piece of gold, just to remind you guys, we grab this piece of gold here. Actually, you know what, let's grab more than one, just so you guys can really see the machine in action, you know. And I come over and I've given these signs to just help me remember which is which. The signs are named based off of what it makes: a calculation circuit, engineering circuit, logic, and then silicon. And then on the bottom, it's what it requires in order for you to make that. So I go over to the one that says gold, and that's based off of these inscribers that are in here, the logic press. I go ahead and put the gold in there, and you'll see it start pumping out of this chest like that. And if you only had one of these servos in here, it wouldn't move fast enough to keep up with the processes. You'd only be able to keep up with about 3 of these instead of all 4. And having that 4th one is really worth the difference. This silicon one is different from the other 4 though, in that it doesn't require an ingredient you guys have seen yet. It requires, well, silicon. The way that you get silicone is actually really easy. You just go and grab some sand. I'm just going to grab these here. come back to my machine shop, And I'm going to put the sand into these pulverizers. Just for the sake of speed and time, I'm going to put them in like this. But you'll see that this new item is coming through the top. And what is that, you know? If you look in the chest, you'll see that that's actually silicon. That's how you get it. I hear a zombie. I hope I'm not going to die. Anyway, let's take that silicon, and as well I've got a bunch of other silicon in here. We're going to come back into the computer room and put the silicon into this chest. It'll start automatically feeding through into the system because that's how we've got it set up. And you'll see that over here it's going to start spitting out this new kind of circuit you haven't seen yet. It's a little piece of silicon right there. And that will pop into this chest over here. There's our printed logic circuits. Let's wait for that silicon to get here. Okay, there it is. We'll just grab a couple of them for now. Come up here and you'll notice that in order to make a full circuit, which is what we're aiming for, because again, if you guys remember, circuits are used to make new items, such as this ME controller. I'll teach you what that does. These components, I don't really use those. I use these though. Storage components, those are going to be super valuable, and we'll go over that. You'll see that it takes an engineering processor. And so what you do is, I've got this little machine set up. I'm going to expand it over to here. I just need some more item ducts first. I kind of ran out. But how this guy works is, if you look at the recipe for this engineering processor, it takes the printed engineering circuit that we make downstairs, a piece of redstone, and then this printed silicon that we also just saw we got from downstairs. And by the way, this engineering circuit comes from a diamond. Logic circuit also comes from, you know, gold with the redstone, and in here, silicon. I've got this set up to where I just put the resources into this chest like that. Boom, done. And it will start drawing these out automatically and putting them in the appropriate places on here, because if you again look at the recipe, it takes that in the top, redstone in the middle, silicon in the bottom, in an inscriber. And so this chest is hooked up with these servos. The top will tell us, oh, hold up, I'm forgetting something on the top. The top one, you need to make sure has all three of these on here, the engineering, the calculation, and the logic. That way, it can pump any type of those up to the top and turn it into its respective kind. That's going to become a calculation processor right there, just like that. So let's put that back in there. Out of the back has to be redstone. Remember to change it to whitelist and turn your redstone control to ignored. And then naturally, the last one out of the bottom is this printed silicon. And then you just get them hooked up to these machines. I found this to be one of the most space efficient ways. I'm sure that there's a better way to do it, but this is just how I like to. Anyway, these will pump out the front. You do need a servo though, just nothing in the whitelist, because the only thing that's going to come out of there is processors. And then that hooks up to our final chest, and that's it. It's expandable. My little setup here is expandable horizontally, whereas the one downstairs, as you guys can see, it's expandable vertically. I swear I can talk. But anyway, so now you get the general idea of how to get these processors that we're going to need. The next step to do after you've got all of this done is you actually have to go and get some more skystone, which I've actually already done for you guys' sake. That way you didn't have to sit there forever while I mine skystone. Just look at your map though, and if you see some skystone off in the distance, like I had that one, that meteor, you go and mine it. You're going to want just like 2 stacks is all. And what you use that skystone for is to make an ME controller. This is the heart of Applied Energistics. You make that using skystone blocks, which come from smelting that skystone. Pretty simple there. You get the pure fluix crystals, which if you guys remember, the way you get that is by making the pure fluix by taking a charged piece of Certus quartz, you charge it using this machine, remember, doing that. And then you use some normal quartz from the nether with some redstone and stick it into a puddle. My friend was here, he wrote us a message. Anyway, you stick it into the puddle, and then it will turn into the fluix. You put the fluix into the macerator, what do you call this thing, the pulverizer, and it becomes the dust. You mix the dust with sand, it becomes seeds, and then you put the seeds in here and turn this machine on so that the growth accelerators will work, and voila, you'll get these dudes, pure fluix crystals. I suggest doing that a lot. Try to avoid using normal fluix crystals because you can get twice as many out of doing it the other way, even though it costs more time. But you take those, you take the skystone block, and then the engineering processor that we learned how to make up there, and you will end up with this. I have 20 of them. Thing is though, is that they're kind of expensive to run. They use a lot of RF, and so for now, while we're on a pretty basic power system, just running off of that tree farm, you know, I decided to just use one. It'll fit my needs for now, and later we'll show you guys why you're going to want more of those. But in the meantime, we've got that set up. That's again the heart of your computer. You use these glass fluix cables from the last episode that we made, and I want to hook that up to an ME drive. This is where the hard drives go. They're going to store all of your items. No more chests, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to start using this. And how we do that, well, first let me show you the recipe for that guy, the hard drive thingamer-thinger. Let's see here, hard drive. Maybe that's not how you spell it. Oh yeah, it's called an ME drive. My bad. ME drive. You just make it like this. Iron, again, engineering processor, fluix cables, not too bad. Once you have all these machines set up, you can get those ingredients really on the cheap, pretty fast. That's why I take so freaking much time to set that up. But we've got that, and now what we need is we need to put some storage in there. You'll see I've searched for 1K. That's the smallest type of storage. We're not going to really waste our time with the small storage because I know it's just going to fill up too fast. However, it is a required component in making bigger components, right? I've got the 4K ME storage that comes from these 1Ks. 4Ks become 16. 16s can become up to 64s. You can even go up to 256, 1024, 496. I mean, it gets bigger and bigger. I think that's about as big as it gets, though. Now, you'll notice, though, that on those recipes, in order to make this 4K, you need 3 1Ks. To make the 16K, you need 3 4Ks. So now we're up to like what, 12 or 9 1Ks, and then from there it just, you know, 3 3 3 3 3 again and again. Eventually you're going to end up with tons and tons and tons of these little 1Ks that you got to build. I told you guys that we were going to need a lot of gold, at least I think I said that, and I meant it. Let's look at this 1K though. We're not going to stop until we get a couple of these 16s. So, we need redstone. We need preferably pure Certus quartz because we don't want to waste our Certus quartz in here because we can turn it into twice the amount of pure. We need that redstone, and then logic processors, which we've got building upstairs. So I'm going to go ahead and grab as many as we have. Looks like we don't have any. I'm going to force the machine to start feeding that by just putting it in front of the chest. Now you can see that that's making those logic processors. While we're waiting on those though, let's go ahead and get some more of this quartz glass. I think that should be a good priority because that's our next step for the 4K, and then again the next step for 4K or 16K. And like I said earlier, you're going to need lots of glowstone. That's exactly why. It's because it costs glowstone, you know. So I've got my quartz glass in this chest. In order to make one of those 16Ks, I'm going to need 9 1Ks. I want at least 10 of those, but to start we may just have to settle for 1 because I've got work in like a half an hour. Kind of sucks. Kind of a bummer. But So we should have, more than enough quartz glass to build us at least one of those 16K storage things. I'm going to go up here and look inside. We've got some golden circuits here, some logic processors. I'm going to put those in the middle just like the recipe suggested, though I did forget my redstone. I also need to grab my pure Certus quartz, which looks like I only have a little bit. I'll make some more of that later because I have plenty of charged Certus quartz. I have plenty of nether quartz, so I can just make some of that later. But for now, we'll come back up here to where we put all of our logic processors. I'll put the quartz just like this. I think that's how it was on the recipe. Go like that. Let's go grab at least 2 more of these logic processors just to make it a nice even number, and voila! We've got 16 of those 1Ks. Put them in there, 3 at a time. We're going to end up with 5 of them, I think, right? Yep, 5. Let's put the redstone in the corners like it belongs. Let's put the glass in the middle like it belongs. And finally, we need a calculation processor, which is in here. I've already made some ahead of time. Put that on the top, and voila, we've got 4Ks. Let's move on again, and this time we're going to have to replace that redstone with some glowstone. And also, if you look here, we're going to need an engineering processor, not a calculation processor. So let's go ahead and grab those as well. I'll go downstairs to my miscellaneous items and see if we actually do have some glowstone, which thank heavens we do. We'll stuff the glowstone in here like that, put in the engineering processors, and there we go. We've got some 16K storage components. Well, no, we've got like 1. You know what, though? For the sake of rounded numbers, I'm just going to make 1 more of these 4K so I can build up to another 16K storage component. I might as well. I'm so close that it's not going to cost me really all that much work to do that, We'll put in our piece of quartz glass in the middle. We've got those. We're going to do it one more time with the 4Ks, the glowstone, the engineering processor, and then finally the quartz glass again. And there are 16Ks. Now the way to make these usable is you first have to put them inside of one of these storage cells. So if I click on the 16K and see what it can make, you'll notice that if I go to page 2, I can make a 16K ME storage cell from that using some redstone, some quartz glass, and some iron ingots. Keep in mind though that when you put this into a hard drive, you can't upgrade it anymore. That's as big as it will ever get for these ones, but I could make new hard drives that go all the way up to some of those bigger storage cells, and that's what we're going to do later. But let's go ahead and put the 16K into the recipe like we saw, right in the middle with some redstone and some quartz. We'll also put this iron on the bottom like that. Let's put the quartz on here like that, and there we go. We've got 2 hard drives. You'll see that achievement in the bottom, better than chests, and well, I definitely agree. We'll stick those in here. Now in order to access those, we do still need to do at least one more step, which is we need to make a, let's see here, Applied Energistics. We need to make this right here, a crafting terminal. You could just use the, ME terminal, but the crafting terminal is superior, and I'll show you guys why in a bit. But in order to get this crafting terminal, we first do need to build the ME terminal. That comes from this annihilation core, formation core, logic processor, bright illuminated panel. The only thing here that's familiar is that logic processor. So let's just start with the illuminated panel. You make 3 of those at a time by doing quartz glass, glowstone, redstone, and iron. And we actually fortunately have all of those resources on us anyway. So we'll go ahead and put those in place. I think that's how the recipe went. Yep. We've got the illuminated panel. Now, if I look again, we need formation core. That comes from Certus quartz, Fluix dust, and logic processor. We've seen all of that before. Let's start though just by putting the processor down. We've got that. We've got the Fluix dust. However, we do not have any Certus, so I'm just going to run over here really quick and pick up you know, a piece of this. I typically try to use pure Sortis, like I said earlier, but don't really have enough. There's our formation cores right there. So if we go to our chest, we're going to go ahead and put that in there. We're going to put that in there. We're going to put this in here. I'm probably getting the locations on those way off, but anyway, we need an annihilation core that's pretty well the same as the formation. The only change is the nether quartz. We can do that though. We'll put nether quartz, we'll put a piece of fluix dust, and then we'll put one of those logic processors, and there it is, an annihilation core. We'll stick that in there. And there we go. I guess it doesn't have to be in any order. I've got an ME terminal now. Now to turn it into a crafting terminal, this can access all of your items that are in the chest, but if I turn it into a crafting terminal, I can use a crafting table right on my computer and have access to every single item at my disposal, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go grab a crafting table really quick. Okay, so I take the crafting table, put that up in there, ME terminal, and finally one of these calculation processors, and ba-da! We've got an ME crafting terminal. And look at that down there, a much bigger table, implying crafting table. We're going to put that on our glass cable there, right click, and we've got a terminal up and running. I can stick my items in here, and there it is. I can go back and pull out my redstone. No more sorting through all of my crap. Don't have to waste my time anymore. I just come here and I can start just throwing stuff in here like there's no tomorrow. There you go. My whole inventory's in there. We've barely even scratched the surface here, you know. Now, these numbers I have to explain really quick. You see where it says 24 of 63 types? Every storage cell can only hold up to 63 unique item types, such as maybe redstone or cobblestone. You know, it can only hold 63 unique items, but then it can hold up to 16,000 bytes, so to say, of those items. My inventory only took up 3,000 bytes, so that's not too bad, right? We can expand this, we can make it bigger, we can get a whole ton of these, and I can store everything in these, and that's actually exactly what I'm going to do. Eventually, though, you'll notice that this is going to fill right up, and you're going to just like, oh my gosh, where's that item I was looking for? You've got a search up here, actually. If you can remember the name of the item and type it, there's my glowstone. Right there. Simple, simple, easy peasy. Also, there's my crafting station down there. I could make, you know, any assortment of items doing that. But that's pretty much the end of today's episode, guys. I hope that this helped to make a little more sense of why Applied Energistics is such a powerful mod. This is just the surface of what it's capable of, too. We're going to go over things like automated crafting. We're going to make it to where this farm of ours is upgraded. It won't load into these chests over here anymore. What will happen instead is it's going to be imported directly into the computer. Then the computer will actually export the wood into these furnaces. Furnaces will export into the computer, import into these, and the reason you do that is because right now we're stuck, right? We're full. We can't do anymore. But if I hook it up to the computer, we're not relying on these little baby chests anymore, and this could keep harvesting trees forever because I'm not depending on a chest anymore. This will spit out right into the computer, you know. So please subscribe if you guys want to see more. I really enjoyed making this episode today. And again, next time we will go over some more powerful applications of Applied Energistics 2. See ya!